in the eyes of my brother.
Yo.
That shit never gets old, yo.
What's going on, party people? How y'all doing out there? Welcome back to another episode of the InforMILLy Honest Podcast. We are four brothers minus one today. Shout out to Marcus. We love you, brother. From the middle neighborhood of Gary, Indiana, who come together to converse and chop it up over a smorgasbord of topics. I'm gonna run out of words real soon.
You and your S bag. You and your S bag today. I got you.
And we usually just like to converse and really try to we use this as a means to learn more about each other, and we want to encourage y'all to do the same. How you prompt each other. There could be people you know all your life, and people that you are just meeting, and you think you may know everything about them, and you may not. We are friends of over 20 years, and going on 30, and a few to be actually true. But yeah, we come together for that reason and that reason alone. And yeah, I fucked up this intro, so we're just gonna live it. We informal.
Yes, indeed.
At the root of everything and every conversation that we have, we like to pride ourselves on being forthright, vulnerable, and most of all, honest. Hence why we are the InforMILLy Honest Podcast. Right? So, fellas, this past week that has transpired, have you lived up to any of those three principles? Have you applied them in your life?
How you feeling, Adam?
I can't think of anything off the top. I don't know if this counts for anything, but so I've been driving back and forth to Illinois the past few weeks, which comes with dealing with the drivers of Illinois, which isn't fun. But so yesterday I almost got ran off the road by some clown.
Oh shit.
So I'm driving, I'm in like the far right lane, just driving down the highway. And this guy, I guess, was trying to get to the exit, but instead of just like slowing down well before the exit, he tried to like come over a lane. Yeah. And I was driving right. I was going past the exit. So it was like I was like right in that area where you right before you get into the exit. I wasn't taking the exit. I was just, what I'm saying, like in that lane.
Yeah, because you either take the exit or keep straight, right?
Correct. Yeah. So this guy, or I think it was a woman actually, she swerves, she's switching lanes. I don't know, maybe she didn't see me, I don't know, but I drive a big white pickup truck, so I feel like it's kind of hard not to see. So anyway, so I slam on my brakes and start skidding and trying to keep it from like spinning out.
Yeah.
So I was definitely going back and forth, but I was able to keep it, under control, and it just stopped for like a minute and kept going. But it's like what I told Kirsten, because I told her about it, I was actually, I don't know why I was thinking this, but like legitimately seconds before that, I was actually thinking like, man, it'd be messed up if I got into an accident. Because I was working at the time. I was actually like on the clock, if you want to call it that. But like I was running like an errand or whatever. I was on my way back to the office space, whatever you want to call it.
HQ.
I was going back to the building in that process, and I was like, what if something happened? That would suck. And like literally seconds after that, I almost ran into a ditch.
Gotta watch your thoughts, man. You manifest. You know what I'm saying?
Guess so. Get to use that in a positive sense.
I know, right? With those powers, go ahead and start investing. Invest some money with those powers, bro.
How about you, A-Dub?
Man, it's actually really interesting that you said that, because I drive for a living, and my vulnerable moment was I caused an accident.
Oh shit!
This past week, now, it was more like a fender bender. Nobody got hurt or anything, but it still was my fault, And it involved merging. And these big white vans do have blind spots, but it was really just a matter of me misjudging the other driver, her speed, and like how close she was in my mirror to me. So I thought I could merge over just fine. But it was nothing fine about the experience. Nothing found about what came next. Nothing fine about it. And by the time I recognized, I tried to like swerve, but it was too late. So like I clipped her side mirror and like scratched a little bit of her side of her car.
Shit.
Yes, I mean it's fucked up in general, but it's more, I suppose, because that's that is my gig. Like my gig is to drive, so they're expecting things like that not to happen. But at the same time, I mean, you try not to have accidents happen, but that's why they call it accident. You try not to happen. You try not to have them. Try to have some integrity and shit when they do happen.
Right.
Help the person out and shit. And it happened to be like rain, like southern torrential rain storm happening at the same day. It was a tornado warning and shit. It just wasn't the best situation. And then that threw me off of my route. So I ended up waiting 5 hours to get actually on my route for the day to work. And it was crazy because like I had just finished my product. So I run product and then I jump on the residential routes. I had just finished my product delivery. And I had the thought to go home because it's maybe 10 minutes or less from where I live to use the bathroom. I was like, let me take a shit at home.
So you
because it's hard
product? To find running product these days, man.
yeah. I just like to take a shit at home because like with the driving job, that's the thing. You either have to stop at a gas station, a grocery store, or like a porta potty or something. Like it's not the best for using the restroom.
It is not.
Yeah. So, and at the last minute, I was, you know what? No, I can get through the day without it. So then that's when I switched my thoughts and tried to merge, and this shit happened. I should have just enjoyed this shit at home. So, hung out with my girl for a bit, whatever. But so that was a vulnerable moment. And then, of course, job wasn't happy. I ended up setting myself back. I didn't start my route till 5 hours later. 5 hours later, waiting on roadside assistance and everything because of the storm, a lot of crashes and whatnot. I set other people back because they finished their route and they had to help me with mine. So it was just like a
domino effect.
A domino effect, exactly. So it set a lot of folks back. No one's happy about it. Shit happens. But at the same time, one of the blessings of it is that like it reminded me of this quote that Jim Carrey said when he was giving like a commencement speech to some university. He was like, you could fail or mess up at what you don't. He said what you don't love, but essentially what you don't have a natural liking for. So you might as well go and try what you do have a natural liking for because you could fail at both of them. And how that pertains to me is like I immediately, like that same day, I jumped on like dying more because I told you guys I've been having fun with it. I jumped on dying more. That sounds terrible. Let me clear that up. I jumped on like more artistic ventures that I was already having fun with. Now I'm like finding ways to like I say, if I say tie dye, it makes everybody gets it immediately, but I don't tie it. I'm just like dyeing the shirt. So, but the point is like I'm no more excuses. Gone are the excuses of like me not doing what I have a natural liking for, at least on the side, and just seeing where it could go anymore. Because I already see I'm one mistake away of somebody hitting the button and saying, yo, you no longer have the funds to pay for your bills because you're fired. One mistake away. So I'm like, I might as well at least put a little more energy into the shit that I'm really having fun with, that I've been doing since I met you guys. So there's a, gift and a curse in a way. So
that's real.
A little vulnerable, man, but we got through it.
Right. For myself, I had a situation with a really good friend where she was having a vulnerable moment of triggering that didn't really have to do with me, but it was just associated trauma. And so we linked up a couple days ago and we're able to hash it out. But it was nice to be able to give her the space to do that because I didn't have any like yo, what's your beef? Like, what's your issue? Like, why are you going through all of this? It was more like, cool. Like, we're clear. I have nothing to do with what you're going through, right? Okay. You want to talk to this? Cool. Like, what's up? And so, wasn't necessarily it was forthright on my behalf as far as being able to give her the space. She was the one being vulnerable, and yeah, we continue to be thick as thieves.
Okay.
Side note, never got that saying. Don't really know why. Are thieves naturally thick?
That is a
know.
very good question. That's one to ponder as much as the string theory concept.
Like, do people who practice thievery normally have the yams? I don't know.
Just if they all happen to grow up on chicken and beer. That's it. Or maybe like maybe criminals just have better friendships. They're just like those friendships last longer. I don't know.
I feel like there's an implicit trust that's supposed to exist in that relationship. It's like a trust and a distrust that always happen. That's implied.
Yeah,
and they're trying to balance the two.
Which that's not thick though. That's like, I don't know what would be the ideal consistency.
Man, that's a really good question. I'm gonna say, so you got like the whipped cream out of a bottle, out of like the can, what's it? I think it's called Ready Whip.
Yeah.
And then you have the more like homemade whipped cream that's slightly more thick. It just tastes more. It just tastes more like less generic. I'm gonna guess it's something like that, or like in between the two.
It's okay. I got you. So it's a difference between store bought and like
homemade. I guess. Yeah. Okay. Homegrown. You got that homegrown, no seed.
So because to kind of piggyback on that, I'm gonna try a transition. I'm probably gonna fail. My friend was going through that trauma, and so not that it necessarily was a scary moment, but what would you say is one of the scariest moments you can recollect in your life?
I'll take this one, Adam, because like something comes to mind immediately, unless you are ready to go.
No, you good.
All right. Well, see, how did this start? This was years ago. I think my older brother was still in high school, so I must have been like maybe 8th or 9th grade or something. And I used to go, that's like my older sister were living with my grandparents at the time, and my brother, Chris, and younger brother and I would go and visit. That's just how it was via adoption, legalities and shit. So my older brother had a girlfriend at the time, and she had brothers and sisters who I was kind of hanging with. And every so often we would go to their house because, my older brother hanging with his girl, blah, blah, blah. So one time while I was there, her younger brother and I got the bright idea, because it was like dark at the time, to ding dong ditch, which I think we all know what that is, right? Or most of us, I'd say, know what that is.
AKA nigga knocking.
Yeah. Precisely. And we do it. So at this point, like before the encounter, we've been doing it for at least an hour, but like in like areas, it's wise to do areas far away from where you live, or far enough away from where you live to where you feel comfortable. You know what I'm saying? And then this last one's a little bit closer to where they're living. Just on the way, we were like, yo, let's just get one more. This shit's fun. Like it's adrenaline rush, whatever. Typical youth foolery. So now I'm guessing that the people in the house must have been hearing us already. And I don't know if somebody had been trying to steal something off their porch previously and they just assumed we were too, but they had been hearing us. Is my understanding. I'll tell you why. So we go up to do it, and then right at that moment, Stevie, who's the little boy's name, for some reason he was like, I'm gonna let you do this one, and then I'll get I think we were gonna split up and like do two and then just dip or whatever. So he's on the sidewalk there. I run up their lawn, and I go to press the doorbell, and before my motherfucking finger hits the doorbell, this dude comes running out of the fucking house with a baseball bat. And it just caught me off guard. It caught me so off guard that like I cowered immediately, yo. Like I didn't even get a chance to run away. I just like cowered on his porch. It was like, yo, I'm so sorry, man. And in that moment, I just remember that was probably one of the moments where I was the most fearful in my life. I just like my immediate reaction was to cower. And curl up. There was nothing, and it was just. I did it. I cowered with gusto. You know what I'm saying? So his wife, he's like, I'm a fuck, and he's yelling, and then eventually I catch on to what he's saying, and I'm like, yo, he thinks that we were trying to steal some of his stuff on his porch, like his grill and stuff. I'm like, no, dog, we're just fucking ding dong ditching. No, I don't give a fuck about I don't even live here. I don't have a car, dog. I'm not gonna, you know what I'm saying? It's okay. I was like, the whole time, just like, yo, we were just vandalizing, we were just joking. And his wife comes out, was like, calm down. She was like calming him down. And then finally I jump up and run away. He chases me for a little bit and then he stops. I'm like, okay, I'm cool. So by that time, Stevie was already at the crib. I was like, Stevie, fuck, I don't even know when he left. That motherfucker was he was nowhere in sight, yo. And but by the time I got to their house, my brother Brandon was out, and that's like maybe when he was not in his prime, because I was more college, but he was already ready to go and like used to handling motherfuckers for me. You know what I'm saying? So he was already out of the house at that time because Stevie had gotten him. Because that was just, it was either police or Brandon. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody, I'm about to get my ass whooped. So I see Stevie there, and I'm obviously like, yo, where the fuck did you go? Anyway, I'm explaining it to him, and then the dude comes running down. I guess he had seen me. He comes running down to their house, and then he's like yelling and shit, and then he sees my brother walk up, and he's like, Be cool. And, I went from cowardice to the motherfucking king of the jungle.
so
in that moment, bro.
And shit.
In that moment, you know what I'm saying? I was like, bro, if I had a little more time, I was gonna fuck you up. I swear. So I mean, it all ended up being squashing. Like the dude obviously didn't do shit. Who knows if he would have whipped my ass if my brother wasn't there though. But he caught the shit, got super, and a good amount of ease transpired when he saw my brother walk up. But anyway, it all squashed, and we eventually explained to the dude that like, dog, we genuinely don't care about your grill, bro.
Yeah,
it was. I know, dog.
Grill up some Franks.
I'm in 8th grade. Come on, bro. I don't care about your fucking grill. So we explained to him it all. It's a thing of the past, but that was one of the moments where I vividly remember being just like from start to finish of him like going in attack mode. I just immediately was fear there to the very last minute. It was wild, man, and like an adrenaline rush.
Mm-hmm.
It was wild, but yeah, here to tell the story, man.
It's a great story. I fear is always kind of a weird thing for me, because I think every time my life has always been almost been like at stake or been at stake, I've never been like, oh no, like I like hydroplaning into the back of a semi, talking about car accidents. Like I remember going, well, as I know there's no stopping this. I've tried turning, the wheels are going. I'm like, I'm going to hit this fucking truck. And I was like, damn, it was like I didn't have like, oh God, please, like my light didn't flash before my eyes. None of that shit happened.
Yeah,
that's a good point, man. I think that, not to forgive me for cutting you off, but
no, you good.
I felt like that was I felt like you probably just had a level of acceptance of like, yo, there's not that much I could do here.
Oh, absolutely. But my acceptance, I don't know if it's like a solace of, well, I lived a good life. It's like, guess this is it. Like it's more of a, all right, well, that was fun, I guess, at some point. But as far as like, I guess it was a moment of fear, but it was more like a collective fear thing. Like if people around me are going through a fearful thing, then maybe I'll like be empathetic and take on some of their fear. So it was one time I was with some friends and we were in the woods and smoking. And so a little high. And then we hear like a twig crack in the actual, like it's on it's like a center or whatever. But we hear a twig crack in the like woodsy part of it. And then everybody's like, weed paranoid. And like we all shining flashlights and shit like that in the woods. And then one of the homies, it was me, one guy, two girls. The guy goes, I see eyes. And then flashes his light and you like see eyes. So we don't know if it's a deer. We don't know if it's a bear. We just know some large, tall, statuesque animal is looking at us. And so then we all turn around and start running. But after about 3 steps, we didn't know that we were on a hill. And so the hill was going, if we're running, let's say we're running north, the pathway is north and south, the hill is north and south, we ran west. So we ran off the hill, and it was on some cartoon shit because the girls immediately fell. And so it was literally like we all start running and like everybody's in sight line and you just see the girls like disappear below you. And I say cartoon shit because my feet are still going. Thank you, King football practice, because even though there's no ground under me, I was like, as long as my feet keep going, by the time the ground comes back, I'm okay. And so adrenaline is tall, like I'm like my feet hit the ground, I'm still booking it, and then I realize the girls are not with us at all. And so then I turn around and I see them, and I think I still see eyes in the distance. So I run back, go get them, pick them up, and like try to keep on running. And then they fell again, and I was like, "Yo, y'all can't. This is not a murder film, and y'all gotta stop being white women." This is why niggas die first in all the movies, because y'all doing this shit. But yeah, and so that was probably a moment of like legit, I guess, fear. And I say I'm not scared of shit. We all know I got arthrophobia. Like I can't fuck with anything with 6 to 8 legs. I have fear, but that was a moment of like, oh, this is a major fear that we could be like mauled by a bear or some shit.
So where was this?
That was gonna be my next question.
Yeah.
Where was this? It was either like Atlanta or South Carolina. I don't think it was South Carolina.
Oh, okay. Well, if it was either of those two, those eyes were probably somebody from the KKK.
Okay. Nah. I was curious because if you were like in Indiana, I was like, well, it probably wouldn't be a bear, but down there, it definitely could have been a bear.
Yeah, it was somewhere. It was somewhere south.
Okay,
it might have. It was either outside of Atlanta or outside of Oklahoma. I can't remember which one. Okay, or it was in Oklahoma or it was in Georgia. I can't remember which one. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Keep me honest. So I guess I'll go. For me, man, like I'm kind of like you. It's like I don't really scare easily. Yeah, I feel like even times when I should be scared, I'm like kind of just like whatever. Like I remember when I was in Afghanistan, I wasn't there for very long. I was only there for a few months, but so it was very common for the insurgents, I guess it was very common for them to shoot mortars and rockets, whatever, in the direction of the base. I mean, they rarely ever hit anything, but that was definitely a thing they did. So, and for me, I was, just a mechanic, so I never left. I never went outside the wire or anything. I didn't go on missions. So I never had to worry about that level of fear, because that seems like that would be scary, driving around the desert in Afghanistan, having to deal with like roadside bombs and ambushes and stuff. So I'm glad I never had to deal with that. But but the little bit of war, I guess you could say, that the only bit of that I ever dealt with was, like I said, they would shoot rockets or mortars. I'm pretty sure there's more of a mortar than a rocket. But
what's a mortar?
So have you seen like in movies where like that they'll have like those tubes and then they will drop like the thing
okay, that's what I thought it might be. Yeah, gotcha.
So they would shoot those at the base a lot, especially on holidays for some reason. It's like because I think I was there. Was I there over Christmas? I forgot what I don't know if I was there for Christmas or not. Maybe Thanksgiving. I think it was Thanksgiving I was there.
Mm.
And I remember like them shooting like 10 off that day, which is rare. Typically, if they do anything, it'd be like 1 or 2. But
Bro, really, how close are they getting to the base? If you don't mind me asking.
sometimes they hit the base, honestly. Like
And
people
y'all
died.
y'all just sleeping through this? Like, well.
Well, they have this like alarm system that kind of
Okay.
tracks. It actually tracks where. I think it tracks where it takes off from. I don't know. I think it tracks where it takes off from and where it lands. Actually, and we actually have this system. I want to say it's called CRAM. It's an acronym for something. I could be messing that up, but it's essentially it can sense. I'm guessing like heat signatures is my guess, and it'll shoot it down, which happens sometimes. And they're like around the base.
Okay.
Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they don't catch. It's technology, so sometimes it doesn't work every single time.
Right.
And a lot of times though, they'll shoot a mortar. So sometimes it won't even land on the base, but because it's close to it, it'll still pick it up. So there's a lot of false alarms with that too, and a lot of their equipment is like old Soviet stuff from like the 70s that that don't even work. So but I would say the first time that I witnessed that, I guess you could say I was kind of scared, but that quickly wears off because like I said, the odds of something happening are actually pretty slim. Like they have definitely hit the base and actually blown stuff up. People have actually been injured before, but it's still very rare though. And it's a gigantic base, almost like a small town. So it's like the odds of it hitting me on this day is like,
yeah. I guess after 1,000 times of not being hit, you're like, okay, it's super rare that it's gonna actually hurt somebody.
Yeah, because it goes from like you being like when you first get there or you first experience it, because people go back multiple times, but when you first experience it, it's a little like, oh wow. But then like I said, after like the first 2 or 3, you're kind of like, if you're like, say you're off work and you're in your little room, whatever, maybe you're on your computer, you don't even pay attention to it anymore.
Wow. You just turn up the volume on the YouTube video.
Pretty much. So I would say that first experience is kind of scary. And I think I might have mentioned this other story before, but I'm not going to say the whole story because I think I have talked about it. But there's this time in Puerto Rico where me and Kirsten I wouldn't say she didn't do anything. I got the car stuck.
I remember that.
I remember, yeah.
Yeah. So that might have been, to this day, I think that might have been my scariest. And not that I was in a dangerous situation. It was more so I rented this rental car and didn't have any insurance on it. That was the scary part. I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to buy a car.
Yo, so it's super interesting how I'm like thinking about what popped up when you guys spoke, when we all like telling these stories. It's like, man, how I have responded in different situations, and all of them you would think you should, typically the idea is like you should be scared or you're expected to be scared, but in each situation I responded differently. It's really interesting, man. Life is really interesting that way. Like, why respond with fear in this one and the other one not? Because like I had I was actually with Chris, my little brother Chris, driving back from IUPUI, I think, because y'all know he went to Purdue, and they're fairly close. So we were driving up for the holidays, and this truck is this big, there's snow all over the 65. At the point where like no one should be driving because it's just one of those blizzards where no one should be driving.
Literally every major car accident I've ever had has been on I-65.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. The semi is coming near us, and he's driving like I'm talking about at least 30 miles an hour, no more. And we hit some black ice and just spin out. We do 2 full 360s, and we land in the oncoming semi lane. 360 flat spins.
I can see Adam's face. He's like, you hit that 720 or something.
Yeah. And then like we just drive away. And I remember like not freaking out. It's weird. We could have easily died, but I remember looking at Chris because maybe it's different because he was the one holding the wheel. He was the one holding the wheel. Maybe that was a little different as well, like in regards to him feeling more responsible. But he's like, oh shit. And I'm like, yo, it's cool. Just hold on. It's cool. And then we just drive. We just get back into the right lane and keep going. And then the semi goes past. Nothing happened. It's wild. And if I can tell a quick story from Marcus, just because it happened to both of us, and it's like pretty funny. We were in Miller, I think, where the Miller Little League field is or used to be.
Yeah, it used to be.
At one point, they had rebuilt that whole area, and they built like a new park and everything. Am I right? I think they put new condos or something, apartments.
Yeah, there are apartments there now.
Yeah, and there's one area where there was like a playground. There's like a basketball hoop and all that, and they had like it's a really smooth, flat, like square pavement. I don't know how big, but maybe like the size of a small parking lot or something, or like a typical full court, you know. And we wanted to skate there, so we're doing our thing. We're just practicing doing little flatland tricks, and like 6 of these dudes come running up. Now, I just want to go back for the folks who heard the previous episode. I said 6 or 7, and then 7 or 8. I couldn't make up my mind whether it was 6 or 7 kids or 7 or 8. It was 6 or 7. I remember I listened back to it the other day when it dropped, and I saw Adam smile because he must have been the main one who called it like 6 or 7. So there's 7 or 8 kids. It was like 6 dudes there, and they all had guns for real. So just 6 dudes running up to us while we're skating in this little flat ground area, and they just like, "Yo, what the fuck y'all doing?" And we look at each other, and Marcus and I look at each other like, "We skating, skateboarding, just skateboarding." I just remember not being fearful. Y'all looked at him like, "Yo, they really have guns. They're really." They're coming this way, and we just kept skating. we just kept testing out our manuals. Who could do it the longest? And then eventually, as like the moments wore on, as time wore on, we ended up like trying to teach these dudes how to ollie and like kickflip, and that's how the story ended. They were like, "Yo, what the fuck y'all doing in our neighborhood?" Well, we just skating in your neighborhood, just skating. And we ended up teaching them how to ollie and shit. It was such a funny, weird experience, but I just remember not being scared at all. It was wild.
Yeah,
they probably saw you guys as outsiders and like,
right.
Let's go scare them, and then you guys didn't bite, so they're like,
yeah,
dang, now what? So now we got to sit here and act like we're interested in what they're doing.
yeah. Right. So what's that? Oh yeah, ollie, that ollie thing.
Yo, I had a black eye situation happen to me maybe a few months ago. Time sucks. I don't know how long ago it was, but it wasn't that long ago. I was driving to go pick up my girl, and I was on Lakeshore Drive, and I don't know if y'all really know, but it's a bend when you're going through downtown. Right, I remember that like little wide bend. I caught some black ice, and my car started to spin out. I'm trying to do the whole turn against the thing. And eventually I go, shit, I'm about to hit this fucking median. God damn it. Like I literally say, shit, I'm about to hit this fucking median. God damn it. and mind you, like I have not slowed down, and I wasn't going fast. I was going like, because I knew it was slick. So I was going like 20, like 20, 25 around the bend. The bend is supposed to be like 45 or something like that. But it might even been slower, to be completely honest. But I spin out. And literally, I'm like this close to the median, and the car stops immediately.
Dang,
like
took the wheel.
I'm telling you, like it was literally like on some. I was like, this is clearly supernatural because it didn't stop like ease into it and slow down and stop. It stopped like something got in the way.
You know what it is? This shit remind me like, yo, when you playing a video game, when you're about to go out of bounds and it just like runs into this clear wall. It's like, yo, I can't go any further. What the fuck?
The shit was really, really wild. And it was literally at the moment that no other cars were around me, and I had enough time to because I was facing traffic at that point because I had turned around, and I had enough time. Like a couple cars started to drive past me and whatnot. I had another window, literally just kept on driving, but it was some wild divine protection shit.
And what's so crazy about that is Lakeshore Drive is pretty much always busy.
Yeah.
So that's the fact that you were able to not get hit by somebody else is crazy.
Yeah, the fact that like no one was around for me to slide into or anything like that. Yeah.
It's crazy how often that happens too. Because Aaron, you were saying that happened with you when you were with Chris. Like you were on 65, which is for the most part a busy highway, depending on where you're at. But and that happened to me. back in 2008 or 9 time frame when I had that truck that was it the brown truck I think I had the small brown truck and I spun out in snow on Klein. I think Josh, you came and picked me up from that too. You might not
Yep, I
remember.
did. Okay. Here's how well I remember that. I remember that was the accident that made you never listen to High Definition by Lupe Fiasco again.
That's funny. I didn't know that. I'm guessing I was listening to that at the time.
Yeah, you were like I remember you said you were listening to when the accident happened, and then you got in my car and it was playing, and he was like, "Hey, can you change the song?"
That's funny. Dang, that's crazy. Like,
yeah,
that was pretty scary too, because I was in the far left. It was only 2 lanes on the climb, but I was in the left lane, ended up spinning out and hitting the right barrier like twice, like a 720. And yeah, and then there was actually quite a bit of traffic too, but somehow I just didn't hit anybody. Nobody hit me. And yeah,
that's just a goddamn blessing, man.
it's crazy how much that happens. Like you just completely spinning out in the middle of an actual highway, nobody hits you. It's like
it's crazy. I was thinking about that, like when I think I was talking to my girl about how much I'm not a huge fan of flying, just because it seems like almost every other time I end up leaving with like some terrible nausea and a headache and just disoriented and shit. It's weird. I don't know why it's not consistent, but when the times when I get off a plane, I'm so close to puking on the plane. It just does something because it fucks up your when you're up there, the pressure does fuck up your insides for sure.
A little bit, yeah.
But
definitely not natural.
And it's not it's not consistent. But when the times when I get off a plane and I'm just feeling my equilibrium's off, I'm nauseous and all, I'm just like, I'm good for another 10 years of jumping on the fucking plane again. But when I think about how dangerous driving is, and we do it all the time, it's much more dangerous than flying a fucking plane, being in the plane.
I think it's probably more dangerous just because it's more accessible and more prevalent.
Yeah.
But it's a thing of in plane crashes, fuck with all these survival shows. If a plane goes down, you're probably gonna die.
Yeah, that's true.
And
true,
you might the chances of dying in the car are high, but they're definitely lower than a plane crash.
Yeah. It's just now that I'm driving, I guess, for my gig, I'm thinking all the time, right? I'm reminded more often that like, yo, at any point, somebody could jump in my lane, or I could, you know what I'm saying? My fucking tire, some sensor could come on that wasn't on, and then some shit pops off. It's wild.
Yeah. I think I was gonna say I was gonna agree with that. Like we definitely, I think as just really as a world, I think we underestimate how dangerous driving is just in general.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like, and then you get, and then you have people that like drive like lunatics, and then they end up getting into an accident, and now because of them, there's like a 30-minute delay. I was like, that is by far the most annoying thing. I saw a car the other day. It was like, it went off the road, but it was like the side of the road kind of was like a hill that goes up. So it was like that, but then there was a pole that was a street sign. The car was resting on the pole. So I'm trying to figure out how it even got in that position. But my guess though is if that pole wasn't there, that street sign, he probably would have kept going and probably rolled over at some point. So I think that pole kind of saved him from rolling back over into the highway. But that's it. People just,
and the thing is,
crazy.
we have our own challenges with driving and whatnot here in the States. Overseas or just in any other country, it's a completely different situation.
Because the speed limits are different. Some of them
speed limits are different. Some countries don't even have traffic signals.
Like what was it like in Germany, somewhere in Europe, like the Autobahn, where you could just go as fast as you fucking want.
But but I mean, less accidents than the US.
True.
There's some places in the Middle East that don't have traffic lights. It's literally you get to the intersection and you get in where the fuck you fit in. When I was in China, what was it they told us? And this is back in like 2012, 2013, something like that. How you can get points on your license and all of that kind of stuff. If you get it, let's say you get I can't remember what the exact math was, but essentially you get like a 3-strike rule on your license for anything. And tickets are 1 strike and accidents are 2.
Damn.
And so yeah.
So everybody's riding. Half of the people are riding bikes and shit. Like,
no, motherfuckers are driving just fine. It's the thing of as crazy as some of the driving looks. It apparently wasn't a big. They don't have accidents that bad as far as I knew back then, because they were like, if you get 1 accident, then you can't do anything else wrong. Period. And there's no way to get those points off your license. And if you get those 3, you lose your driving privileges. Period.
That system is just so fucking harsh. Damn.
Yeah, that's why they don't have accidents.
I mean, the word in itself is an accident. Like, it's called accident. Nobody try, but no, it forces you to be alert. It's just like we talked about in our previous episode. Like me being in Bali and like Indonesian people, it looks so chaotic, but they probably have fewer accidents because people are just so, you're forced to be alert and so conscious of everything you're doing and everybody around you.
Yeah.
Shit's
I'm
wild,
with
man.
you. Even though that scooter driving in Thailand was still there we go. That's a moment of fear. That's genuine fear. That's a genuine fear that I remember having is driving that scooter for the first time in Thailand. Because they don't give a fuck about you. One, that was the first time I drove on the other side of the road. It's the first time I've gone that fast on something that is not covering my entire body. And it's the first time I probably like genuinely, outside of like gangster shit back home, that I genuinely was made to feel like a bitch, because the way that everybody else was looking at me be very careful inside of my driving. And just like seeing some young woman riding sideways on the back of her scooter, and somebody else drives looking at you like,
that is so crazy to me. When I first saw that, I was like, because it's the whole balance thing is off. Like, it's like
I don't know how it makes sense.
Yeah, I don't either, man.
I would yell at my girl like, "Yo, when I lean, you lean."
And they'll be just chilling like on their phones, like not even thinking about it, like
bothered in no way.
It's just wild, Joe. I told you I saw that damn near kid jump into traffic, and I was like, I think we'll just pay a driver today. I think we'll just pay somebody to drive us around. Super.
I mean, I got used to it, but that first day, just driving from our hotel to the place we were going to get something to eat before we went to the temple on the mountain, just that first drive, I was like, I know that the tears coming out of my face was because of the wind, but a part of that felt like I was crying.
I'm guessing this is more of a question, but I would imagine one of the toughest parts is like their equivalent to our left turn.
No.
And waiting for other cars to come.
That was actually fine. Following traffic is never an issue for me. It was navigating how they culturally treat traffic. And it was mainly for those moments of anytime you hit an intersection that's got a lot of traffic in it, you got to keep moving because you're on a scooter, not in a car.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many scooters behind you that's like, you got space, even though it's 3 inches between you and the curb. It's like, you got space, keep moving. Or let's say there's 3 lanes of cars. That means there are 6 lanes of scooters.
Mm-hmm.
And all those scooters are still moving, regardless of whether or not these cars are moving.
Yeah. And that's one of those things where it's safer in a fucking crowd.
A little bit, only because you're trying to walk your scooter, but not press your gas too much and not hit anybody's mirrors and not like I'm off level because this foot is on the curb while this foot is on the ground. Like it's a whole lot of management.
and the way they just pull up on the fucking sidewalk and ride the scooters on the sidewalk, like I'm not walking by you, like I'm not utilizing this this
Yeah.
platform right now. I'm utilizing this platform with my girl right now.
Right. And regular pedestrians don't even say shit. They just move. Like they just get it.
That shit is wild, man.
It's
Well, that's gonna be
essentially
me today. I'm
Word.
gonna be on my bike. I'm gonna be in that little biking event with like 30 to 50 people. So I'm hoping that
Oh, nice.
we all feel safe. Somebody's less likely to hit a big group as opposed to a couple bikers. So
Dope shit. That's reminds me of like those skateboard crowds that I used to always try to get into, but
I remember you talking about that, man.
people being like, yeah, you know, we're gonna skate from this part of the city to this part of the city, like come
Yeah.
through. It never happened.
Damn, bro.
Now to oppose the scary moments, what's a happy moment, just so you know we can end on a higher note. What's a happy moment that you know you can recognize? Like one of your most significant.
Well, I could definitely say, and actually one of the reasons why I thought about this is because I was talking with my girl about this at the park the other day when we went to Washington and we're jumping in that freezing cold lake, like off of we jumped off a cliff. So it was just like a mixture of that slight hesitation of like, yo, this could end badly. Like the slight fear, I guess the word is fear, or the slight concern mixed with like the success of doing it that first few times and being like, oh, we good. Like it seems scary, but we're totally good. So you get that adrenaline rush as well. And then you want to do it more and more. And it was like glacial water. It was the coldest water I've ever felt in my entire life. I couldn't stay in it for more than a minute or two at first. I think that's just because my body wants to survive. You know, my body wants to continue making it past this experience. But like that us doing that, which I think there was some videos of me and the guy on Instagram on a story, I think what you guys commented on, like jumping off the bridge the first time in our undies. And that was one of, and like when Nat did it too, it was just really cool, man. It was an exhilarating experience for sure.
Yeah. Dope shit. AJ, how about you?
Well, honestly, for me, it would, you know, we were kind of talking about our travels and stuff. It would probably be when I went to Thailand, actually. Because that was the first trip that I took like that, like international, you know, kind of like bigger scale, I guess you could say. And that changed everything for me. Like I had always been interested in travel, but like I said, that was the first time I ever done a trip to that magnitude. And then from there, I was like, this is like something I got to keep doing. And the thing about what makes Thailand such a cool place to me is like it's one of the places that kind of has everything you could look for. Like if you're into culture and you just want to be around like the Thai people and learn about what they do, obviously you could do that. If you want to just go there and do outdoor stuff like kayaking and canoeing and snorkeling and mountaineering, hiking,
Oh,
whatever.
man.
They got all that. If you want to
party
and drink your face off, you can do that too. So it's like they have literally every section, in my opinion, every section of entertainment that I would want.
That's
and then
really
like
cool.
And even like the local live musicians are some of the best I've ever seen in my life. Like I won't ever forget, me and Kirsten went to some bar. It was just a random bar, but these two people? One. I think it was one. I should know this, but it was one or two guitarists. Actually, not that this matters, but I think it was a lady boy actually. And
okay,
I just found out what those were. I just found out. I didn't even know. I never even heard that term until like 3-ish years ago.
It's just transgender people.
Yeah.
Didn't even know.
Just a Thai term for it, I guess.
Term for it, yeah. That's the more common term that they use. Yes.
And yeah, like this individual, I mean, I've never played an acoustic guitar played this well. It was fantastic. So Thailand, just the overall experience probably be the happiest moment or era. I don't know whatever words you want to use.
That's dope. Mine is also a travel story, or even really. I think it was two of them. One being the day I like matriculated into the full company at Deeply Rooted was a really big like marker of happiness because it was like years in the making and training and all that kind of stuff. And the other being New Year's Eve 2018, I think it was. New Year's Eve or day before New Year's Eve 2018 Afropunk South Africa.
Yeah.
That trip and that the first day of the trip, I think it was it might have been the second day, but there was a cat by the name of Nakane Torre.
I remember you talking about
we had him in whatchamacallit. So I might have said the story already, but it was a moment in his set where it all hit me that I had just been inducted as a Chicago Dance Makers Forum lab artist for 2017. So this is New Year's 2017 actually, because I was just about to make that piece, something like that. One of those 2017, 2018. I don't remember. I just did that. I had just gotten all of these like I just been recognized. And all, I couldn't conjugate that.
Clutch. You got that clutch.
In these other publications and all that kind of stuff, which was cool. It was like I was like, oh, my work is being recognized in some capacity, and
no doubt.
I'm on a vacation that I paid for with dance. To my favorite place in the world, surrounded by all these beautiful fucking Black people, listening to all of these ridiculously talented artists. Laura Mavula had just gotten off stage, who I love to the depth of my core. And this dude Nakane started playing it, and I started like bawling out in the middle of a field. And this woman who came on the trip with us, she looks at me and she sees I'm like just happy crying, looking at the sky like remember when I lost that it wasn't a fight, but remember when Philip beat my ass and I was looking at the sky looking at the sky.
I don't remember this.
Wait. Remember when Lamont pushed me into Philip?
Philip Johnson? Which Philip are we talking about? Okay.
Lamont pushed me into Philip. No, yeah, Philip Johnson that used to live over by KK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pushed me into Philip and then made him think that we were fighting. And then he started punching me in the face. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck is happening right now.
Lamont has come up in this podcast as a villain.
The dude with nefarious intent.
Was
he a villain this whole time?
Yes. I love him dearly, but yes, he was a villain. But I remember like at the end of that shit, just being looking up at the sky, like, what is life? I don't know what's going on right now. But no, in this moment, I was like looking up the sky, like all the gratitude hit me at once. And I was like, oh, this is a happy cry. Like, I don't know that I've ever known what it was like to cry happily.
Yeah.
And so Lisa was like, are you okay? And I was like, yes. And then like she hugged me and nuzzled my face into her bosom. It was
that was real fair. You were like, okay, I know how to get back here.
But yeah, that was probably like one of the biggest moments of like genuine joy I think I've ever felt.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, that's wonderful. I think what was that? It should maybe think of one time when I was like reading a book. It's weird how I just feel like it comes so unexpectedly sometimes, you know, like it sounds like yours is a little more unexpected. You're just enjoying it. You just like, I guess obviously you're having fun and shit, and it just hit you all at once.
It just hit, yeah.
I was reading a book called The Power of Now, man, and I just start bawling, bro. And this was like for an hour and a half or something. And a lot of what was in the book almost was feeling like I was like, maybe I was just actually receptive to it in the moment. And it was just hitting me at my core. But
Hey.
it was wonderful.
Who wrote that book?
Eckhart Tolle.
I was like, that sounds familiar.
I feel like Kirsten has that book
Yeah.
upstairs. Actually.
Yeah, it's a good one, bro.
familiar.
I read it twice, man. It's a good one. But like, it's just interesting because that was the moment. Some part of me feels like some of my most happy or joyful moments are like small moments, like small things happen. Like reading or something and really being receptive to the reading. And then I just start bawling. And it like that feeling just that wave carried on for the rest of the night. But then I've had stuff where like I was so fixated. Yo, do you guys remember those Goodwood chains, those Goodwood NYC chains? And a lot of people wearing the Jesus piece that Kanye was rocking, but it was like actual wood. I think it was like all black or something. I think James Anderson, the one who put me on about him, like who told me about him. And I ordered one. Of course, I had to be on my custom game. So I was like, I'm not getting one unless I design the shit, So I put the order in. It's taking mad long for the order to come. And at this time, I'm at IUN. And I was like, bro, I was checking I was way too fixated, obsessed with this shit. I was checking my fucking email every day. Like, y'all ain't done yet? Y'all ain't done yet? Oh, man. Yo, be professional. Like they're not a fucking artist doing a custom. Like they don't have I'm the only. I mean, it's still a business. If they told you it's going to be done in however many business days, then I'm the only patron. Yeah, I'm like, no. And I remember walking in the parking lot from IUN to get into the car, and I checked my email and it said it had been delivered. And with everything in me, I jumped up and did one of those fucking parking lot, and people around me were like, "Yo, what the fuck is like?" I mean, they could tell I was happy, but they were just thrown off. That shit hit me all at once, dude. And I probably never jumped that. If I was on the court, on the basketball court, on the hardwood, jumping that high, I know I could have done some windmill 360 tomahawk jam. It's just a wild moment. How it's just interesting to kind of think about how I could have that happen, and like when I'm so fixated on something material, and then just one of my smaller moments of doing nothing but reading the book, being open enough. It's just wild, man. I mean, the gambit of emotions that a person can go through, I think they can happen in any capacity. Yeah. I don't know that one necessarily means more than the other because you change day to day. How you care about this material thing may have been really irrelevant at the time. Yeah. True, man. I was just more so like thinking about how our previous episode we talked about like happiness and joy, and kind of one is dependent on certain things that happen the way you want, things like that. Yeah. Adam, did you say one?
Yeah, the happiness.
Yeah,
or happy moment. Yeah, Thailand. I went to
Thailand. Okay, yeah, my bad. Cool.
Yo, this dude just spilled his heart out about Thailand. You're like, yo, did you go? Did you go?
Oh, because I'm about to rap. I want to make sure I cut him off. My brain is. Well, thank y'all for joining us for another episode of your InforMILLy Honest podcast. To tie in together this episode, whether you are feeling fear or joy, to recognize the depth of your emotions is one of the most vulnerably powerful services of self-care that you could ever commit to yourself. And so want to encourage you to always do that. People talk a lot about self-care these days and recognizing that as the trivial things, but also recognizing that as not to even be extra crunchy about it, just going like, yo, what do you feel right now? And recognizing what your feelings are that day and being honest with yourself, because you don't have to validate it for or to anyone else. And so that I can stop sounding like a self-help book, we're going to wrap this shit up. Fellas, you got any sign-offs?
I got two. One, pick up The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Speaking of self-help.
Free promotion.
I like reading books that remind me that I never needed to read the book. I like those reminders. I like books that remind me of that. And the second one is, I mentioned earlier that I'm serious about getting something started, and as of late, it's this dying clothes like for sale, the joy of doing it, and also it'd be wonderful to make some money. So I haven't come up with a name, but I'm thinking calling it Informal, and I want to know if y'all are cool with that.
Are you spelling it like
cool with that?
You spelling it like the podcast, or you just calling
I
it?
am. Well, that's why I'm asking right now.
So you want us to relinquish our equity, is what you're saying?
No. Yo. What I'm saying is, just don't sue me. Don't come for me.
I'll have to see. It's like I get 5% equity, so you know what I mean, I only take 5% instead of 25. You know what I'm saying? So
I got you. Yo, Etsy and Big Cartel coming soon, man. No more excuses.
Dope.
Nice.
That's great.
I don't got nothing. Just stay. Just stay. What's the word? Vigilant. Stay vigilant. I don't know why you would need to, but just do that.
I think that's good. Good.
People go through their challenges. Stay vigilant.
Hell yeah.
Word. Well, as for every connection that you make, every conversation you have, every person whom you engage with, we always encourage you to be forthright, vulnerable, and most of all, be honest. Peace, y'all.
Peace out.
Peace, and thanks for listening.
Look in the eyes of my brother without shedding a tear for my brother. I really want to try for my brother, 'cause I truly do feel for my brother.